Okay, here we are. Welcome, welcome everyone to our Unlimited Network Mastermind. This is something that we do every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And this time together is dedicated to, I call it conscious entrepreneurs, meaning the master creation, to really understand how the laws of the universe work, and to enjoy the journey of accomplishing our desires, but from a place of allowing and flowing and letting go this old world of struggling and effort and difficulties that I think we all are waking up from. So I just welcome all of you because I know there is a lot of things to do in general, and the ones that we are here committed, every Saturday to open our minds and our hearts to have this drop, of consciousness and mastering the laws, and to really understand deeper and deeper how our being, capital letters, works. What for me is an honor. And I want to say to every one of you here that this is an offering that we offer to the world. So, meaning for free, if you know of someone that can benefit from being connected with people that are like-minded, that have the same kind of intention, that really want more in life, but from a place of connection, of fulfillment, and to really let go the old patterns of fear and scarcity and all that stuff, please invite them. And to do that, you have to send an email to Arne, A-R-N-E, at unlimitednetwork.com. And then you ask for what you want, and for sure you can be on the panel even. And we always keep these sessions recorded for a week under unlimitednetwork.com/mastermind. And after, you can go to the archives that we have all of them. Okay, but welcome. And this was an intention that we had, Arne and I, a long time ago. So we are here like for a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years, no, a year and a half for sure, more than that. And we can see the difference. So I really invite everybody and acknowledge the ones that we are perseverant enough to keep growing. So welcome to the journey of wealth and happiness and money and all what we need. And we are studying at this moment, we are studying the book of, let's see, we can see here, Money and the Law of Attraction from Abraham Hicks. That is this higher consciousness channeled by Esther Hicks. But it's really your higher self, it's really your being, it's really the consciousness, capital letters, that we all are made of. And to have this direct conversation with this higher frequency of our being, for me, is very enlightening and really strong. I mean, it's clear that we can resolve all our problems. And of course, we have to come out from the habituated way of thinking and all that stuff. So I feel very empowered myself, really, with this book. And the interesting thing is that, we started this mastermind when we committed strongly to financial freedom, or in my case, that was the idea. And this book, that is Money and the Law of Attraction, big part of this book is dedicated to health. And it's true that without health, we can have millions, but we cannot enjoy them. So I'm very grateful, to see the priorities in life and to understand all what we are going to read today. You can apply it to money too, but we are going to talk a lot about how we deal, what sickness really is and how we deal with that. And you can call your sickness, if it's not physical, this is what we talk today, could be, the scarcity in your financial world, right? But to master, our health, our real health thinking and health being and well-being is what is going to bring us money and all this fulfillment, right? So that is the intention of this section. So let's begin. Are we ready, Arne?
Yes.
Wonderful. So let's begin here, and we are on page 122, for the ones that you have your book with you. Welcome, Heidi. So the 122 read here, and at the end of the reading, I suggest all of you take notes of things that really impact you and things that maybe you resonate with you, that you had experience about it, and after you would like to share something, or ask questions about it. So the more you engage, the more we integrate this work. Okay. So here we go. We are going to start with the section that says focus on fun to regain one's health. And Jerry, that is the writer of the book, okay, is asking. Norman Cousins was an author who contracted a disease that was considered to be incurable. I don't think anyone had ever recovered from it. But he survived it, and he said he was able to do so by watching a series of humorous television programs. I understand that he just watched these programs and laughed, and the disease went away. I need something. I what?
You're covering the microphone.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I have to put my book right here. And he says he was laughing and the disease went away. What would you say was behind his recovery? Jerry's asking to Abraham, to this higher consciousness, okay? And then the higher consciousness, Abraham responds. His recovery was accomplished because he achieved vibrational alignment with well-being. There are two primary factors involved in this finding vibrational alignment. First, his desire for wellness was dramatically enhanced by his illness. And second, the program he watched distracted him from the illness. The pleasure that he felt as he laughed at the humor of the program was his indication that his disallowance of well-being has ceased. Those are two factors required in the creation of anything. Want it and allow it. Okay? Usually, once people have focused upon problems and such enough that they have disallowed their well-being and they are seriously ill, they then turn their undivided attention to the illness, this thus perpetuating it more. Sometimes a doctor can enhance your belief in wellness if he has a process or a remedy that he believes will help you. In that case, the desire is amplified because of the illness, and the belief is enhanced because of the proposed remedy. But in the case of the supposedly incurable disease, or in the case of the supposedly curable disease, the two factors that brought about the healing were the same: desire and belief. This is so core. Okay, if anyone who can come to expect well-being can achieve it under any conditions. The trick is to expect well-being, or, as the man in your example did, simply distract yourself from the lack of well-being. Wonderful. Did ignoring the illness resolve the illness? He asked. And Jerry is asking. Throughout my adult life, I have never been sick that I wasn't able to do the work I intended to do that day. In other words, I always felt my work was so important that I didn't consider not doing it. I noticed, however, that if I was beginning to feel less than good, like if I was in the beginning stages of a cold or flu, once I got focused on what I needed to do in terms of my work, the symptoms went away. Is that because I was focused upon something that I wanted? And Abraham answers, because you had a strong intention to do your work, and because you enjoyed it when you did it, you had the advantage of a strong momentum towards your well-being. So when it seemed that something was detracting from that well-being because of some attention to something unwanted, you had only to focus upon your usual intention and your alignment returned quickly, and the symptoms of misalignment fade quickly. Often you try to accomplish too much through action, and in doing so, you feel tired or overwhelmed, and those feelings are your indicator that it is time to stop and refresh. But often you push forward in action rather than taking the time to refresh and realign, and that is very common reason for uncomfortable symptoms to begin to surface. Here I want to acknowledge Arne, because many times that I feel like so stressed or whatever, I say, just go for a walk, enjoy the jungle. And I'm, no, but I need to do, you know. So it's interesting to master this balance and to don't act, you know, from the speedy me, I have to, you know, or looking for the end, you know, just to enjoy the path. So thank you, Arne, for that. Most people, when they feel a symptom of sickness, begin to give their attention to the symptom and usually slide rapidly into more discomfort and misalignment. The key is to catch your misalignment early. In other words, whenever you feel negative emotion, that is your signal to reach for a different thought to improve your vibrational balance. But if you do not, your signal will get stronger until eventually you may feel physical discomfort. But even then, as in the example you just stated, you can still refocus upon something that you desire, taking your attention from whatever has you out of balance, and come into alignment, and the symptoms of sickness must then leave. There is no condition from which you cannot recover, but it is much easier if you catch it in the early subtle stages. Sometimes being sick provides you an escape from something else that you do not want to do. And so, in your environment, there is much allowing of sickness for the sake of not having to do something else. But when you begin playing that sort of game with self, you are opening the door to a greater and greater and greater sickness. Here it's so important to learn how to say no. No, I don't want to do this, okay? I just want to do what feels good to me to do, you know? Okay, what is the effect of vaccines on diseases? Jerry asked, since we create our illnesses through thought, then why do vaccines, like the one we have for polio, seem to almost put an end to the spread of those particular types of disease? And Abraham answers, the illness amplifies your desire, and the vaccine amplifies your belief. Therefore, you have accomplished the delicate balance of creation. You want it, and you allow it, or believe it, and so it is. This is so amazing. I mean, I hope we can talk a little bit about this later, because I was studying this chapter here, and it's like we are so addicted to see the source outside, you know. So anything can help us or whatever, but it's really inside. So, what about medical doctors, faith healers, and witch doctors? Jerry asked. Well, that will lead me to my next question. People like witch doctors, faith healers, and medical doctors, all of them have the reputation for healing some people and for losing some of their patients too. Where do you see the place for such people in thought or in life? And Abraham answers, the important thing that they have in common is that they stimulate belief in their patients. The first part of the balance of creation has been accomplished because the illness has enhanced the desire for wellness. And anything that brings about belief or expectation will give positive results. When medicine and science stop looking for cures and begin to look for vibrational causes or imbalances, they will see a much higher rate of recovery. If a doctor does not believe that you can recover from your illness, your association with that doctor is extremely detrimental. And often, well-meaning doctors will defend their doubt for your recovery by pointing out the odds against it, telling you that it is not likely that you will be an exception. The trouble with that logic, even though it is based on the facts or evidence that medicine and science have come to expect, is that it has nothing to do with you. There are only two factors that have anything to do with your recovery: your desire and your belief, period. And this negative diagnosis is hindering your belief. If you have a strong desire for recovery and doctors are giving you no hope, it is logical that you will turn to alternative approaches where hope is not only allowed, but encouraged. For there is much evidence to show that people can recover from supposedly incurable disease. Your physician as a means to well-being. Abraham continues, do not condemn your modern medicine, for it has been created because of the thoughts, desires, and beliefs of the members of your society. But we want you to know that you have the power to accomplish anything that you desire. But you cannot look outside of yourself for the validation to do so. Your validation will come from within you in the form of emotion. Seek your vibrational alignment first, and then follow through with inspired action. Let your medical community assist you in your recovery. But do not ask them to do the impossible. Do not ask them to give you a cure to compensate for your misalignment of energy. Without asking, there can be no answering. And attention to a problem is really an asking for a solution. So it is not unusual that doctors will be examining the physical body looking for problems for which they might have a solution. But looking for problems is a powerful catalyst for attracting them. And so often well-meaning doctors are instrumental in perpetuating more illness than they are able to find cures for. We are not suggesting they are not wanting to help you. We are saying their dominant intent when they examine you is to find some evidence of something wrong. And since that is their dominant intent, that is more of what they attract than anything else.
Can I say something?
Wow, yes, please.
The muting, yeah, it's amazing. We are actually, when we go to see a doctor, we're almost begging them, please, what's wrong with me? And they want to, from one point of view, you can say they want to serve you, so they want to answer your question. What's wrong with me? Can you find something wrong with me? Well, and many times the doctor cannot find something, but we want to find something wrong with us. Either we have symptoms or something that we have put into a category that there is something wrong with us. So then we'll go find another doctor. And maybe we'll go through 4 or 5 doctors until finally we find one that will agree with us. So it's kind of funny how we have that. Actually, in my life, it's been pretty interesting because I go in and out of having a cough. I cough sometimes and very strongly. And when I do that, even Monica and people, it's very uncomfortable to be around me. They say, "Oh my God, there's something. You're sick. Have you seen a doctor? Have you done this? Have you?" And my answer is, I've had this now that I can remember since I was 8 years old. That's like over 50 years, and I'm still not dead. It comes and goes. I don't have it now, and then it comes, and I have identified my metaphysical reasoning, which is my focus on, I shouldn't be saying that, or now I'm talking too much, I'm talking too little, that I don't have the right to say that. Then I start to cough or bark like a dog or something like that. So it's an immediate effect, but I never went to a doctor to check it out. And Monica's father is actually a very successful surgeon in ear, nose, and throat. I mean, if anybody knows about this stuff, he does. And so we've been discussing it, but no, I don't want to go and do it. And now 6 years later, I'm still here and I'm fine, and I have occasional times of coughs. And that's sorry for the world around me, sorry for me for not catching my opposing thoughts, my non-loving thoughts, so it comes into a cough, and I actually put in. But the main point is that I have not gone to try to find out what's wrong with me. I've gone into the metaphysical aspect, and it works for me.
Thank you, Arne. I just love that we can have real experiences, so we can share with each other here, and to inspire each other on how we can follow this path or the other. Like it's so important what you said, and it's true that if we are looking for something wrong, we are going to find it. But there is a fine line for me too, between denial and Sometimes I use a doctor, and I am a medical doctor myself. But it's true that I am much more in love to the metaphysical cause, because I was frustrated when I studied medicine. It's like, what is the cause for this? Nobody knew. There is a point where physically you don't get it. So you have to jump to the spiritual world, to the metaphysical world. And that for me is my passion right now. So I'm more a spiritual doctor. That's what I became a spiritual life coach, than a physical doctor. But I acknowledge the medical doctors that are more open-minded today than 20 years ago. And of course, they can support and help a lot if they are open-minded. So But let's continue because we are going to get very, very clear with this. So, says, in time, after they have been involved in it for a long period of time, they begin to believe in the fallibility of man. They begin to notice more often what is wrong than what is right. And that is the reason so many of them begin to attract illness into their own experience. He's talking about doctors here, okay? Because we are focusing on, let's say, focus on the doctor is focused on the pathology. That's what you dedicate so many years of university, you know, pathology. You don't study the well-being, you know, you study the wrong-being, you know, and that's amazing. So, and Jerry asks, so is that the reason why often doctors can't heal themselves? And Abraham answered, that is the reason. It is not easy to be focused upon others' negatives without experiencing the negative emotion within your own being. And illness exists because of the allowance of negativity. One who never experiences negativity will not be sick. So let's be positive and joyful. What can I do to help them? Jerry asked, what's the best thing that I, as an individual, can do for other people who are having physical problems? And Abraham answers, you never help others when you allow yourself to be a sounding board for their complaints. Seeing them as you know they want to be is the most valuable thing you can do for them. See them as you know they want to be is the most valuable thing you can do for them. Beautiful. Sometimes that means removing yourself from their vicinity, because when you are near them, it is difficult not to notice their complaints. You might say to them, I have learned, this is in quotes, I have learned the power of my attention and thought. And so, as I hear you speaking of what I know you don't want, I must tell you that I must remove myself, for I don't want to contribute to your miscreating. Closing the quotes. Try to distract them from their complaints. Try to help them focus upon some positive aspects. Do your best to imagine their recovery. So, do you want to say something, Heidi?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Now. No, she muted. We cannot hear you, Heidi. We cannot hear you now for whatever reason.
Right now?
No, she's speaking. A ver, now?
Unmute microphone.
Now I can hear you.
You got me now?
Now, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I chuckle because I know that negativity is going to affect you on a physical level, yet my mother is like the walking contradiction of that. I mean, people can't even be around her for any length of time because all she does is complain, yet she's an 88-year-old woman with no health problems at all. I mean, she's the walking contradiction. And I chuckled because she will, and she has no medical doctor. I had to take her to a doctor just because everybody thinks because you're a senior citizen you have to have one. So she finally went to one, and then I laughed because I work with a lot of seniors, and I chuckle because I stay out of their stuff when they say, what are you laughing about? I said, I can't get involved. I said, because I don't live in this world of come to the doctor because he tells you to. I said, I don't even have a medical doctor. I have an acupuncturist and a chiropractor, and then vitamins and an energy healer. So I said, I don't have a medical doctor, and people laugh. And Esther and Jerry themselves said they haven't had insurance and a medical doctor in over 20 years. And I said, and people ask me, how come I don't have insurance? And I said, well, I have insurance. I have faith. I look at what's going on, you know, and I figure out, okay, how do I get rid of it, you know? But the one doctor, when she went to the doctor, the receptionist says, when does he want you to come back? And I was laughing. And she says, what do you mean, when does he want me to come back? I'll come back when I want to come back. And I thought, that's how I was raised. Where all the other seniors are like, oh, he wants me to come back every 4 months and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I chuckle. I love this. This is like my way of living. Yeah, when I first started reading them, I'm going, oh, somebody who gets me. Yay!
Thank you,
Well,
Heidi.
I want to say about my father died at 97 without sickness, and he was also like that. He was a hypochondriac, so he was always talking about there's something wrong with him, and he went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and they could never find anything. And what I realized is he was very frustrated because nobody could find anything wrong with him. So he had the thought, why can't they find anything wrong with me?
But but it was an attention thing, though, right, Arnie?
So
See,
his attention was,
right.
it ended up with him being so smart. He says, well, doctors don't know anything. There is something wrong with me. So he just had to argue his question, what's wrong with me? And they could, no, why isn't there anything wrong with me? And he ended up dying not from any sickness. No.
That was very amazing. I mean, because, and I totally see how, uncomfortable it is to be surrounded by these people, negative. My mom pretty much, like complaining and negative, whatever, and she's full of energy. But in her head, she has to believe something that make her very alive. They are like your dad when I met him, the last years, but kind of a stubborn person, you could not contradict the guy so easy. That they can't find anything wrong with me. Well, the universe responds, constantly, it's so funny. So, I mean, we have to be aware of all of that. So let's continue here, but thank you so much, Heidi. I love that we can make this personal. Where I was here. Let's see, seeing them, when. Okay, so to see them as they want to be is the most valuable thing you can do for them. So you will know when you are of value to anyone, when you are able to think about the person and feel good at the same time. When you love others without worry, you are an advantage to them. When you enjoy them, you help them. When you expect them to succeed, you help them. In other words, when you see them as your own inner being sees them, then and only then is your association with them to their advantage. And here I want to just say something also that you reminded me, Heidi. With my mom, for example, it's interesting that I was for a period, I think maybe a year or something, where I was not talking with her, like I could not maintain a conversation with her because I was affected by the negativity and I wanted to change her. And oh my gosh, I was putting a lot of attention there. And she was telling me what I needed to do. And was this, back and forth thing. And then after that year that I was separated, I really got in touch with how much I love my mom. And today is the day that I can be in Skype with her. She lives in France. Maybe let's say 40 minutes or whatever. And the 21st minutes are about all the problems that she's going through, blah, 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 blah. And I'm focusing on loving her and giving the space for her to vent, like to whatever she needs to say. But we always end up with love. It's so interesting, it's like, oh, well, mom, you really are doing good by yourself there, and so we always end up with love, something that I could not do before because I was too negative, I suppose, myself. So I was judging, that negativity instead of being the love that I am more and more today. So that's interesting to see that we can change that, so. Okay, now let's. Excuse me?
One interesting point. I think it's. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
It's very important when people have gone so far that they actually have sickness symptoms. They have a diagnosis or something. They are actually in the space of being sick, and then to support them, like they were saying in the chapter here. See people as they want to be seen. Well, at that point, in my experience with my mother and other people too, it's just I see them accepting their sickness. I accept their sickness. I am no longer trying to talk them out of where they are at because they have already put themselves in the sickness world, and they did that because some part of them wanted that. Maybe they were angry and this, or maybe they want to leave, or maybe something they get out of it. So for me to come in and say, hey, you shouldn't be sick, would not be me serving them. For me to come in and just loving them, I love you the way you are, any way I can support you. If you verbally ask me for, to help you with something on a symptom level, yes, I will. But I'm not going to come in and override what you have already created. So I think loving people where they are is what's serving them in getting what they really want, and also serving them in moving on their particular journey, their particular path. So loving somebody without trying to change them or trying to make them healthy. Being a healer myself for over 30 years, I can't make anybody healthy. Well, it's not my job. That would be trespassing.
Right.
So I learned that the hard way.
Thank you, Arne. Beautiful, and it's so true, So respect. Yes, Heidi, I can.
Well, I wanted to thank you, Monica, for sharing that, because that's exactly why I went away for 10 days. Is I needed to separate from, really cut a cord of my mother's energy, and some energy work that a friend did for me. She called it a compassionate connection that absolutely needed to be cut. And I wanted to thank Candace, because while I was gone, the first couple of days I slept a lot. And one day I woke up, and what came to me was something Candace had said a couple weeks ago, where she said, and I forget who the actual quote was, but it's, if you're not running from something, you're running towards something. And I remember laying there going, I keep running from her. I keep running from her, and my focus is on running away from the negativity. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying myself anymore. I'm not Heidi with the happy heart and a loving heart. And I thought, I thanked Candace like numerous times while I was laying there going, run to joy, run toward joy, run back toward joy. And that has been so uplifting and so huge for me that I mean, really it's all these little things that just keep coming up and combining to say, and that's exactly the push-pull part is, I love my mother. And that's the thing that I cry about is, I love her. I don't want to ignore her. I want to be a good daughter. I want to be a loving person, but I can't get sucked in, not just to the negativity, but emotional manipulation of playing games to get my attention. So that's why I had to step up and go, step away. And then when you guys just talked about seeing people, how they want to be, oh my gosh, that was just a light bulb moment for me. How huge. I remember when she used to drive, I was driving with her, she kept complaining about the guy in front of her going too slow, and I looked in the next lane and I said, well, Mom, the lane next to you is empty, just go in that lane. Well, why can't he go faster? Well, he doesn't want to go faster, but you want to go faster. I gave her 3 options, and then finally I just looked at her, I threw up my hands, I'm like, you obviously just want to be miserable. There you go, then stay where you are. So that's what that reminded me of, and I got to get back to that. Fine, you're just happy where you are. That's fine. So this is great. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. And we are talking about real unconditional love. And so when we react, like I can totally resonate with what you are saying, but it's my problem. It's not her problem. It becomes my problem, So thank you because that's what we are mastering here. So let's be compassionate with our human journey, okay? But it's true that we are growing in love, because love will not change. Love will not change intentionally. Love will change every situation, but not because judgment, not because I don't like it, because it's a higher frequency that moves, the miracle. But I love it. Thank you. So we continue here, and this is touching to me because we just had a friend that died last week going through this. So, but what if they are in coma? Is a question here, and Jerry is asked. From time to time, someone will say, I have a friend or family member who is in coma. Is there anything we can do for a loved one who is in an unconscious state? And Abraham answers, you are communicating with those around you vibrationally, even more than with your words. So even though your loved one may show no sign of recognition, it does not mean that your communication is not being received on some level. You can even communicate with those who have made their physical transition in what you call death. So do not assume that a seeming unconscious state has barred your communication. The primary reason why people remain in a coma or unconscious state is that they are seeking refreshment from the lackful thoughts that have been hindering them. In other words, while they have withdrawn their conscious attention from the details of their normal life, they are in a state of vibrational communication with their own inner being. It is an opportunity for refreshment and is often a time of decision making where they are actually determining whether they will find their alignment by returning to the non-physical or whether they will awaken again back into their physical body. In many regards, it is not very different from being born into their physical body in the first place. Here's the best attitude for you to hold regarding such people. I want you to do what is important to you. I approve of whatever you decide. I love you unconditionally. If you stay, I will be ecstatic. And if you go, I will be ecstatic. Do what is best for you. That is the best you can do for them. And this, I just want to say that becomes very easy the more spiritually awake you are, let's say, the more you are connected with your inner being, with source, and the less afraid you are of death, and the more connection you are with the eternal life that is you at the core, this present silence that we are, the more we identify with that well-being, the less identify with the form that is always changing and less afraid of death, the more we can do this with ourselves and with our friends, okay? So it's beautiful to see that. I feel very understood by Abraham, in other words, because this is something that I do naturally, but, it was not so well seen from the outside world. Because supposedly, you have to shake them and don't let them die. And to me, this happened last week with a dear friend, and I could feel in my heart, surrender. Surrender to your well-being. You are guided by well-beingness, by your well-being. So equally static if you leave, that she left, than if you stay. Because I know the journey continues, and that comes from a deep, deep sense of trust about who we truly are. So easy to say again, but we are growing in that direction, is what I want to point. And then Jerry asked, and so those people who are in a state like that for many years, they are doing what they want to do? And Abraham answers, we talk about the coma, Abraham answers, most of them, if it is that length of time, made the decision not to return long ago. And someone in the physical override their decision and kept them plugged into a machine, but their consciousness has long gone and will not return to this body. And we continue. Could I inherit my grandmother's illness? Jerry asked. I have heard people say, I have migraine headaches because my mother had migraine headaches. Or my mother is overweight and my grandmother was overweight and my children are also overweight. Do some people inherit physical problems, is the question. And Abraham answers, what appears to be an inherited tendency is usually the law of attraction's response to the thoughts that you learn from your parents. However, the cells of your body are thinking mechanisms also, and your cells, like you, can learn vibration from those around them. However, when you identify a desire and you find thoughts that feel good, which indicate that you are in vibrational alignment with your inner being or source, the cells of your body will quickly align to the vibration of well-being that your positive thought has established. The cells of your body cannot develop negative tendencies that lead to disease when you are in alignment with your source. Your cells can only get out of alignment when you are. So let's get very comfortable in our 15 minutes meditation, whatever, when you are in silence, when you are really connected with source, Your body is an extension of your thought. Your contagious or inherited negative symptoms are supported by your negative thoughts and could not occur in the presence of chronically positive thoughts, no matter what disease had been experienced by your parents. Jerry, if I hear my mother speak of her headaches and I accept that, then I can start having headaches myself. And Abraham answers, Whether you hear, I think you need to, yes, thanks. Whether you heard it from your mother, something is resonating here. Whether you heard it from your mother or from any other, your attention to something you do not want will, in time, bring the essence of it to you. This is so simple and powerful, you know. The headache is a symptom of resistance to well-being, which occurs when you hold yourself in vibrational contradiction to the well-being of your inner being. For example, worrying about work or feeling anger at your government can cause physical symptoms. You do not have to focus upon a headache to have one. This is interesting, you know, sometimes you think, oh, but I was not thinking about this sickness. No, but the negativity starts to manifest in contraction, you know, contraction. Jerry, if I, no, excuse me. Yeah. If I heard my mother complaining of headaches and I consciously reject that and say, okay, Jerry is saying, if I hear my mother complain of headaches and I consciously reject that and say, that may be for you, but that's not for me, does that protect me to some degree? Jerry is asking. And Abraham answers, it is always to your advantage to speak of what you want. But you cannot stay in alignment with who you really are and focus upon your mother's headache at the same time. So speaking of what you do want while looking at what you do not want does not put you into alignment with what you do want. Take your attention from the things you do not want to attract and put it upon the things you do want to attract. Focus upon some aspect of your mother that causes you to feel good, or focus upon something other than your mother that causes you to feel good. And here I want to again share with you my personal experience with my mom, Heidi. I mean, all of us, I think we are learning to do that. But it's funny because I see my mother very connected with nature. She's kind of a witchy, you know, like intuition and connect with animals and all that stuff. So it's funny because lately I'm hearing myself saying to her, oh, Mom, you are so beautiful. Look what you notice, you know. And I was not that way, you know, 1 year or the year before the year I spent it really, you know, like loving myself and becoming aware of my own negativity. That is what really released the judgment that I had about negativity on others, you know. So it's interesting to see that we are changing here. Thank you. So Abraham answered, it is always, speaking of what you do want while looking at what you don't want is the last thing that I read here, does not put you into alignment with what you do want. So take your attention from the things you do not want to attract and put it up on the things you do want to attract. Find an aspect that you can enjoy, you know, of that person. So you let go the attention of the negativity here. What is the media's role in epidemics? He asked. Jerry. I have been hearing in the media recently that there are free flu shots in town for those who want to go and get them. Will that news affect the spread of the flu virus? This is so us, civilization here. Abraham answers, yes, it will be of great value to the spread of the flu virus. There is no greater source of negative influence in your environment today than your television. Of course, as in every part of your environment, there is wanted and unwanted. And you do have the ability to focus and therefore to receive value from your television and media. But those sources do bring you a tremendously distorted, imbalanced point of view. They look all around your world for pockets of trouble, shining spotlights upon them and magnifying them and enhancing the trouble with dramatic music and then funneling it into your living rooms, giving you the tremendously distorted picture of the trouble versus the well-being of your planet. Focus, focus, focus. The constant barrage of medical commercials is a powerful source of negative influence, as they explain to you that 1 out of every 5 people has this disease lurking, and you are probably the one. They influence you to give thought, and then they say, see your physician. And when you go to your physician, remember, the intent of the physician is to find something wrong. Now your negative expectation is born or enhanced. And with enough of that influence, your body begins to manifest the evidence of those pervasive thoughts. Your medicine is more advanced today than ever before, and yet more of you are sick than ever before. Remember, to create anything, you have only to give thought to it and then expect it, and it is. They show you the statistics, they tell you the horror stories, they stimulate your thought, and as you are being stimulated by the thought in great detail, you have the emotion, the dread, the fear. I do not want that. And one half of the equation is complete. And one half of the equation is complete. Then they encourage you to go in for a checkup or to come and get the free flu shots. Obviously, we know it's an epidemic or we wouldn't be offering the free flu shots, they say. And that completes the expectation or the allowing part. And now you are in the perfect position for the receiving of the flu or the essence or whatever else it is they are talking about. It's so amazing, I mean. You get what you think about whether you want it or not. And so it is of great value for you to begin practicing your own story about your well-being so that when the television presents that frightening story, one that you do not want to live, you can hear their version and feel humor about it rather than fear. That's the power that we have, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Catch uncomfortable sensations while they are small. Abraham says, the first indication that you are disallowing your physical well-being comes to you in the form of negative emotion. You will not see a breakdown of your physical body at the first sign of negative emotion, but focusing upon subjects that cause a prolonged feeling of negative emotion will eventually cause disease. If you are unaware that negative emotion indicates a vibrational disharmony that is hindering the level of well-being that you are asking for, you may be, like most people, accepting a certain level of negative emotion and feeling no need to do something about it. Most people, even when they feel alarm at the level of negative emotion or stress they are feeling, do not know what to do about it because they believe they are reacting to conditions or circumstances that are outside of their control. And so, since they cannot control those unpleasant conditions, they feel powerless to change the way they feel. Let's take our power back. We want you to understand that your emotions come in response to your focus. And under all conditions, you have the power to find thoughts that feel slightly better or slightly worse. And when you consistently choose slightly better, the law of attraction will bring steady improvement to your experience. The key to achieving and maintaining a physical state of well-being is to notice the indicators of discord in the early stages. It is much easier to refocus your thoughts in the early subtle stages than after the law of attraction has responded to chronic negative thoughts, bringing bigger negative results. If you could make a decision to never allow negative emotion to linger with you, and at the same time acknowledge that it is your work alone to refocus your attention in order to feel better rather than asking someone else to do something different or for some circumstances to change to make you feel better, you will not only be a very healthy person, but you will be a joyful person. Joy, appreciation, love, and health are all synonymous. Resentment, jealousy, depression, anger, and sickness are all synonymous. I just feel like grateful for all of this and highlighting it, you know, repeating, you know, because I get it and then I don't get it. And then I get it and then it's lost, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh. But it's so simple, you know, and it's like, it's so amazing, you know. I want to share something about last week that I spent like 3 days like super down, feeling really bad. And I was, you know, like, it's like I want to feel good, but I was already trapped in the momentum of that negative thinking, I suppose, or feeling or sensation, you know, so it was not so easy to change. And what I catch myself is I want to change the outside. So then I will feel better, you know, like if this person will do this, you know, or will do that, you know, then I will feel much better. Instead of realizing that, I mean, I do that quicker and quicker, I have to say, okay? I do it, but I mean, maybe in the past I was, you know, unconscious, then 6 months, then 1 day, now it's like in hours, you know, I can really notice, you know, that I'm going downhill here, you know, but to come inside myself, it is, okay, what it is that is not thinking, is not thinking the thoughts of my well-being, you know, and was really about trusting my environment, you know, trusting life, trusting Arne, trusting decisions that are needed to be taken here, right? And so I get trapped into the outside instead of working on, you know, how can I enjoy the trust that I feel? I am pure trust, all this trust, I can trust, what can I trust? So I feel empowered right now reading that, you know, because yes, that's what I need to do, focus on what I want, you know. So again, easy to say, but we are supporting each other here, okay, to master that. So here we have a good question. It says, are arthritis, I think you say in English, and Alzheimer disease somehow resolvable? Jerry asks, can be garnered joints caused by arthritis or the memory loss caused by Alzheimer's be resolved? Is it possible to recover from those types of illnesses at whatever age? And Abraham answers, this is for the old age people, okay? The condition of your physical body truly are vibrational indicators of the balance of your thoughts. And so, when you change your thoughts, the indicators might change also. The only reason that some diseases seem stubborn and unchangeable is because your thoughts are often stubborn and unchanging. Simple. Most people learn their patterns and of counterproductive thought, often based on truth, in quotes, they have witnessed or learned from others, and as they hold stubbornly to those patterns of thought, which do not serve them, then they experience the result of those thoughts. And then an uncomfortable cycle occurs where they think about unwanted things, in parentheses, valid, true, unwanted things, close the parentheses, and in doing so, by the law of attraction, they prevent wanted things from coming into their experience and allow unwanted things to come instead. Focus, focus, focus. Where I'm putting my focus, my attention. Then they focus even more upon those unwanted things, causing more unwanted things to come. You can accomplish change in every experience, but you have to begin to see your world differently. You have to tell the story the way you want it to be rather than like it is. This is hard, okay? Because I know it's the mastering of our success financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, or physically, in this case of well-being, you know. You have to tell the story that you want to be rather than the one you see or you are experiencing at this moment. This is the key that we learned with our first book, The Science of Getting Rich. You know, there is a certain way. This is the certain way. Where do you focus? On what is already manifested, or on what you want to manifest, you know? Again, easy to say, we are mastering here. When you choose the direction of your thoughts and conversations by the way they feel as you think them or speak them, then you begin to deliberately offer vibrations. You are vibrational beings, whether you know it or not. And the law of attraction is eternally responding to the vibrations you are offering. Jerry asks, can chemicals such as alcohol, nicotine, or cocaine negatively affect the body? And Abraham answers, your physical wellness is affected much more by your vibrational balance than it is by the things that you put into your body. And even more significant to your question is the fact that from your place of vibrational alignment, you would not feel inclined toward any substance that would detract from that balance. Almost without exceptions, the seeking of those substances come from a place of less alignment. In fact, the impulse to participate in those substances comes from a desire to fill the void that is present because of the vibrational imbalance. Are exercise and nutrition a health factor? I love this part, you will see now. Jerry, does better nutrition or more exercise add to our health? I will say that we all believe yes, right? But listen, Abraham answers, you may have noticed that there are those who are very deliberate about food and exercise whose physical well-being is obvious. And there are those who seem to be offering tremendous effort regarding food and exercise who struggle for years to gain benefit and still have no success in maintaining their physical well-being. What you do in terms of action is far less important than the thoughts you think, the way you feel, your vibrational balance, or the story you tell. Amazing. When you take the time to find vibrational balance, the physical body, the physical effort you apply will yield you wonderful results. But if you do not tend to your vibrational balance first, there is not enough action in the world to compensate for that misaligned energy. From your place of alignment, you will feel inspired to do the beneficial behavior, just as from your place of misalignment, you are inspired to detrimental behavior. I would like us, conscious entrepreneurs here, to apply this to our financial situation, okay? Because it's almost like when you take the time to find vibrational balance, the physical effort you apply with, the physical effort actions that we want, to make money here, okay? Will yield to wonderful results, but if you do not tend to your vibrational balance first, if we don't really think abundance, prosperity, that we have it all first, okay, doesn't matter what we do. We will not lose weight, or we will not bring dollars in the bank, So this is important to me. Again, another pull, another inspiration towards, okay, keep going, keep enjoying focus on what you want to see, instead of what we see here. And so I love that. Jerry asks, I remember hearing a line from Sir Winston Churchill. He was the British leader during World War II. He said, I never run if I can walk, and I never walk if I can stand, or stand if I can sit, or sit if I can lay down. And he always smoked a big cigar. He lived to be 90 years of age, and as far as I know, was in good health. But his lifestyle was clearly not what we consider today to be healthy. So what it just a belief factor then? And Abraham answers, living at such an early age, and smiling. The reason that so many are confused about the correct behavior for healthy living is because they are only factoring in behavior, and they are leaving out the part of the equation that is most responsible for every outcome: the way you think, the emotions you feel, and the story you tell. What if a healthy person feels mostly tired? Jerry asks, if a person seems to be in good health but feels tired or listless most of the time, what would you suggest as a solution? And Abraham answers, people often refer to that state of being tired or listless as a stage of low energy, and that is really a good way of saying it. While you cannot cut yourself off from your energy source, when you offer thoughts that contradict that source, your resulting feeling is one of resistance or low energy. The way you feel is always about the degree to which you are in alignment or out of alignment with your source. No exception. As you tell the story of what you want, which is the story the source within you is always telling, so trust what you want, okay? As you tell the story what you want, you feel happy and energized. The feeling of low energy is always a result of telling a different story than the expanded source energy part of you is telling. When you tell a story that focuses upon the positive aspects of your life, you feel energized. When you tell a story that focuses upon the negative aspects, you feel enervated. When you focus upon the absence of something that you desire in your present experience, you feel negative emotion. When you imagine an improved condition, you feel positive emotion. The way you feel is always about the relationship between the object of your attention and your true desire. Giving thought to what is wanted will give you the invigoration that you seek. And I think I'm going to stop here, even though we have 2 more pages, but I would love to spend the next 5 minutes here by, sharing the 3 of us here. Arne left because he needed to go to the airport. But we are the 3 of us ladies here, and I know there is a lot of people on the other side that I want to acknowledge for being there. If you have questions, you just need to write on the section that say, ask your questions. But let's see if we can integrate what we had read until today. Next Saturday we will continue, and maybe we start the next section too. We have just 3 pages, but I think I want to finish now with the energy, start to close the energy. So Candace and Heidi, if you have something that you would like to I don't know, to keep empowering all of us, and to really integrate this amazing, clear message that we have here, and see if I get it, Focus, focus, focus. Yes, Candace, welcome.
Oh, I have so much to say. So much we talked about today was good. Heidi, you and Monica both talking about your mothers. I was aware of some little subtle places. Mostly I would have said I'm in a good spot with my mother. But listening to my dear friends here on the panel, I saw there were a little bit here and there, little stuff that I could just, by listening to you, go, oh, yes. And after this phone call, I love my mother even more. She is passed on, and she wasn't particularly a complainer. She was part of the person that got me on this path of go for it, move forward, always keep looking at yourself. What did I do to cause this situation? You know, take a responsibility. I am seeing more and more as I grow what an incredible person she was in her time, and how grateful I am. So, thank you, my beautiful goddess friends. This is just wonderful. Wonderful. One more step in more love. Because if I love her more, guess what? Guess who I'm loving more? Is me. So, because, yeah. Anyway, that was just a side note. Golly, I made several notes. I thought about the ads on TV. And this I've known for a long time. They are fully designed to make you sick and to sell you the product that will heal you. You poor person, now that you've got this thing. So, and then another thing, a piece of information that I got recently was that approximately 70%, more than 2/3 of most television stations' budget, advertising budget, comes from the pharmaceutical industry. And that any person who speaks negatively about the pharmaceutical industry on that television network, out of there immediately. So this gives us a clue as to how it's possible that people can influence the thoughts of others via television. So I will just leave it at that and the predominance of ads. Do you have something to say, Heidi?
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think that's also with the government. The pharmaceuticals actually have more control in government decisions because of they fund a lot of governmental things. And somebody sent me, and I don't like to focus on negative, so I didn't even listen to this whole thing someone sent me today. But apparently there were eight holistic physicians that have been killed because they recently that have been speaking out on holistic practices.
Right, and I think that number was rising, and I think those particular people, as I understand it, had found a particular amazing something that was helping a particular big disease.
And thank you for sharing about your mom, because the other thing with that, because I think since there's only 3 of us, it's fun to like interact, like as you say something. When Monica had read about focus on what you love about the person, that's what I wrote down, because that is, I can remember the mom that I grew up with is not the same. I mean, there's aspects of her right now, but I remember this powerful woman. I remember the woman that would say, if someone says they don't like something about you, just look at them and say, I like myself. So she doesn't remember those kind of things that this was a strong woman. So I see part of that still in her, just on different levels. So thank you, because that is a strong reminder constantly. Yeah.
And I think you'll probably find graceful ways to remind her, Mom, I remember this about you. It's one of my favorite memories, or whatever.
Yeah.
And another thing I loved about our reading today, new subject, is the cells of my body are thinking mechanisms, Abraham said. Even the cells of my body are thinking. Now, that's a little bit much for me to personally maintain control of, is all the cells of my body and what they're thinking. But it is up to me to help them kind of herd them along into the proper, the same general direction of good health, happy spirits, all the good parts. So, but I was really had I would say almost a cosmic moment there of thinking how incredibly refined, to me, is the divine, who works down at the cellular level, thinking all the way back up to this bigger head unit level, and then out into my community and into the stars. You know, it goes macrocosm and microcosm, and it's to me a very
You know
positive
this.
thought.
You know this. Some Japanese guy that was doing the experiment with
yes.
the water that shows the
Dr. Emoto.
crystals. You know.
Right.
Dr.
What is it?
Emoto. Listen
Dr.
to his
Emoto.
name. It's even emotion.
Exactly.
Emoto.
Emoto, exactly. So there is some ritual that I do every morning, and this is something that I would like to say loud to all of us here, because we come, I think, from being completely unconscious to our bodies. I don't know about you, but to me, like, the body was a machine. I was not like really, embodying it. Then to judge it, because we are static and we see the picture or whatever, when we are young, let's say, to really honor the temple. Maybe it's the feminine work that I'm doing, that I dedicated my life to. But, to every morning, I spend like maybe 5 to 10 minutes in bed, loving my body. And I love you, I love you, I love you. And I go, from my feet to the top, in inner organs, and I love you with my hands on my belly. So, and I remember the Dr. Emoto, experiment about, and because we are like, 86% water, I imagine then the crystals, the beautiful crystals that I saw in the pictures. So it's almost like I'm nurturing my body from that kind of, and I am almost 60 now, and I love my body and enjoy my body more than ever. And I feel like I radiated this happiness, just naturally, but really the cells, when you say, the cells think by themselves, I don't know if they are unique motors that they are going, when we hear about cancer, that's what they do. They think by themselves. Now they are, like running the show of destruction, let's say. But really comes from my own choice mentally talking here. I'm the one that I'm self-destructive in some aspect, So to compensate that or to heal that by focusing on really loving myself and acknowledging myself and my body, this temple. So this is something that I wanted to share, because I could believe, I was impressed also with said that our body is listening. That's why I want to acknowledge you, Heidi, and to highlight, to be surrounded by the people that support us, to be expansive and think what we want to think. Because it's so easy to get trapped, in this osmosis that I call. I'm having dinner with these people, and they are, kind of, oh my gosh, complaining about politics. I don't care. It's like, I don't want to talk about that, for example. But my body, by osmosis, can start to absorb that, and then next day I feel a little more down. Why? Because I allow it, So in some ways, okay, can I choose to say, I don't want to have dinner with these people. I want to have dinner with these people, or with nobody, and with the YouTube Abraham Hicks, whatever it is, until I'm strong enough, like I was saying before, that I can be in the presence of my mom or whoever, and then I emanate more than absorbing, So it's very interesting to see that. Great, and Candace, I don't know, you have something more to say? I got you there, but I feel passionate about this.
But I'll finish up the part about the cells of my body with a remembrance from reading in Ram Dass's wonderful book, Be Here Now. I believe that's where it's from, but it's from him, and it was a story about his teacher named Karoli Baba. And it was a moment when Ram Dass, I believe he was meditating. Forgive me if I don't get the exact circumstance correct, but the end result was he ended up seeing his teacher named Karoli Baba as sitting there, and every cell of his body had Ram etched in it. That it was that every cell of his body had the name of Ram, which was the aspect of God that he embodied and thought well of, shall we say.
Wow,
anyway, I love that. Place God in every cell of your body, however you perceive God, however you perceive the goddess or the divine. So I'll complete with the other sentence I really enjoyed was, I am chronically positive.
Yes!
I'm sorry, That if it's
What
not
a-
a disease, it's an ease. It's not a disease at all.
Exactly. What a group of people we are. Wonderful, wonderful. Beautiful. But I think with this, I would like to close. We just 10:11. I love these numbers, and we are going. We went a little far, but I enjoy a lot. So you know, whoever, if you want to see the recording, remember you can go to unlimitednetwork.com/mastermind, and we have this recording the entire week. And we get together again next Saturday. That will be November 21, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and we will start with page 135. Yes, exactly, 135, and we continue here. I suppose Doc Frank will be here, but if he's not, we are managing very well this. And to me, I think the idea is to keep integrating all this work, you know, so we can really master our financial world too. That I think is the cause that brought us together, and to see that how with our well-being, our health, you know, our really feeling that well-beingness, and to master this kind of relationship with our bodies can help us to manifest abundance and prosperity in other aspects too. So yes.
Can I, and because I want to share this book that that you guys might like. I don't know if you've ever read it, where it's called Wealthy Spirit.
Okay, no.
I highly recommend. I found it in the library years ago and had to have it. It's a daily, like a little daily meditation, but it's on. I mean, just Shelley Campbell is you will daily affirmations for financial stress reduction. But
Right.
it is.
And
so
what is the affirmation of today?
Okay, today? Okay, well, it doesn't matter because you just start wherever. So sometimes I just restart it whenever. So I'm restarting. I restarted, but we'll just say celebrating a new beginning. I'll just give you number one.
Okay.
So the quote today for that number one was, there are some people who live in a dream world, and there are some who face reality. And then there are those who turn one into the other. And today's affirmation is, something wonderful is happening to me today. I can feel it.
Woohoo! Beautiful. Okay, ladies. But with this, I'm going to turn off the recording. I just invite the ones that you are on the other side or seeing this recording, email Arne, ARNE, @unlimitednetwork.com if you want to be in the panel and have fun like we're having here. And see you next week, everyone. And give me a second. I'm going to push the button to cut the video. Okay, here we are.